So we had the miniature bull. So how G-rated do we need to keep this podcast?
We need to tell the story about the miniature bull.
All right, we'll come back to the
too
miniature
good of a
bull.
story not to tell.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been cleared for takeoff. You are now flying high with Travis Lamance.
What's happening, Flyin High friends? Welcome to another episode of Flyin High. We have a very special edition coming to you today. We are at the King Air Gathering being held in Horseshoe Bay, Texas this week. We've got the one and only Mr. Carl Davis here with us. He is the owner of King Air Nation and the one that puts on this King Air Gathering event. Super excited. Me and Carl have known each other for a very long time. So, Carl, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about who you are?
Grew up, in aviation, started off out of college and had a couple aviation jobs. And after a little while, I said, you know what, I think I can do this on my own, and pitched my idea for our business to the employer I was working for. And they said, no, that's not anything we're interested in. And I said, well, what if I did it? And they said, sure, go for it. And if it doesn't work out, you can have your job back. I said, great. And my aviation love started young. I was a military kid. My dad was a 24-year Marine, just a great dude, great dad. And he took me to his buddies who was a Marine aviator and sat me in the front seat of a F4 Phantom. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. Of course, everybody has their Top Gun story, loves the Top Gun story, but it was, aviation was something that I always thought had to have a military portion of it, the direction I was going, and, came into the King Air world through PT6, and I was working for a PT6 company, and then started working for a government contractor, and that's who I said, hey, I think we could do this with King Airs, and they said, yeah, go for it. So started the company literally in my garage.
Nice.
In 2002.
Yeah.
Me and you had known each other for several years in the maintenance field and then the medevac field. And I always knew Travis was a good mechanic and a smart guy, but it sealed the deal when I broke an airplane in Amarillo. And it was the third time that same thing had happened to the airplane. And Travis said, I think I got you fixed up. And literally, the airplane never had the problem again. So that's my story. My Travis my Travis foundation story. The origin of Travis.
Yeah.
But it was a cool airplane too.
It was an awesome airplane.
we threw it was the shimmy dampener that it slung off, and they found it in a gopher hole or something. I mean, it slung that thing off the runway.
Just a minor shimmy.
Yeah, shoot. I thought the world was over when I landed
that
thing.
You had to go get new fillings in after that, didn't you?
Yeah. I called the insurance company. I was like, did you guys cover anything with this? And they were like, dude, just fix your airplane.
They said we don't cover dental work.
Yeah, we don't cover stupidity, So we don't cover it until you got to have the right mechanic to get on it. So
what was it about the King Air that held your attention, though?
It's a sexy airplane. I know some would disagree, but it's kind of a good ramp, a nice ramp presence. It was the momentum of my life that I probably can't take any kind of ownership in, that natural, and it just seemed to be PT6 background, started working. And when I started, I was in the parts side of everything.
Right.
And the government contractor was supporting the military version of the King Air 200, which is the C-12, and a lot of surplus that we were taking care of and repurposing into the market. And, we started just trying to figure out a way to buy diapers and formula and,
how do we feed these mouths?
Feed these kids and trust God that we were going to be able to do it. And I mean, we were single income at the time. My wife's a stay-at-home mom, and, she supported me the whole way and said, hey, let's chase the dream and get after it. And, it's almost a quarter or just past a quarter of a century now. So
quarter, you got to make us sound old, Carl.
There's a lot of wrinkles in the mirror these days.
Yeah, that must be your mirror. It's not on your face, right? Did you kind of feel like you were going to be an entrepreneur when you were younger, or did it just, this opportunity appeared and you figured out you were smarter than everyone else and you're going to do it?
I don't think I ever really knew that entrepreneur pathway. It was more about a better way to have a job, I
Mm-hmm.
think is, and I honestly think that that's an error. I don't believe that was correct. I think
Yeah.
that you should always have some point to what you're doing, some trajectory other than I just would rather have a job where I worked for
Mm-hmm.
myself, because the unfortunate cause and effect there is you are probably you are a workaholic most likely, because
Mm-hmm.
if you're at all someone who gets a needle in the vein from you know doing something well in business or doing something well just in life in
Mm-hmm.
general, it's the mistress that never is satisfied.
Right.
It always needs more of your time. It
Yeah.
always needs
There's always
more of
something to
energy,
do.
always
There, you
something to
can.
clean, pick up, call back, whatever. It's this
Mm,
it's and I'm learning that process. It took me
yeah.
26 years to get here, but
Yeah.
25 years, but it's a journey,
Yeah.
I think, and it's one I'm glad I got to live and experience. You hope that your kids and posterity are gonna,
Yeah.
and I think they looked over and they're like, dude, dad works way too hard. Like, this is,
Yeah.
there's got to be better walks of life that aren't crushing you.
Yeah.
So, but I think they've learned a lot. I'm hoping that you know I'm able to let them draft in the wake that I'm
Yeah.
pulling them through to do something great with
Kind
their
of the
life.
goal. Let them stand on your shoulders, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the only man on the planet that ever wants you to do better than him is your dad. So,
True.
and I you know, love my kids, and I got blessed to have a dad that treated me the same way. So
I had to go steal you away from one of your little grandbabies to come
that's
here.
right. I was
I felt bad. I'm like, you're getting
no,
grandbaby time in
uh,
right now.
that was just complete disorganization. That's what it is.
That was fun.
Too many irons in the fire. But
Did you have like a mentor that gave you confidence going into it, or you just truly just, I need a job, I'm gonna go do my own
yeah,
thing?
it was none of this would have happened. I don't know. It's not the obligatory. My wife is she
Yeah.
literally is my best friend, and she would always encourage me to be who I felt like I needed to be, and not to make it into something super spiritual, but it was literally, I felt
Yeah.
like it was what I was supposed to do.
Divine path, huh?
Yeah, I asked my dad, who's been after the Marines, he became a pastor. So
Right.
if you can just imagine like a gung ho Marine pastor,
That's
he's awesome.
phenomenal. I bet
Yeah,
that was
he's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
But I asked him, I said, what do you think? I'm not really sure which direction God's leading me in my life. This is a fork in the road. It's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, can you serve God where you're at right now? And I was like, oh man, yeah, that's really
Kinda.
gonna go want to
Yeah.
go that way. He's like, well, can you serve God as much or more in the other direction? I was like, yeah, I think maybe more that way. And he goes, choose. It's your life to choose. However,
Hmm.
honor God with what you're doing and march on.
How long had you been married when you went off and started this?
So that was 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years in marriage,
Yeah.
2 kids in diapers.
Great time to start a business.
Yeah. Just foolish, like you look back and you're
Yeah.
like, no, you can't do this.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me why I did it, and I said I was too stupid to know any better. So
Exactly.
ignorance is bliss when you go into it.
I've had banker friends that even asked me, it's like, well, how did you get funding for this? How did you do this? And you didn't take any partners on, you raised capital on it. It's like, man, I can't explain, I
You
can
just
just tell
worked
you
them.
what happened. Like, these things lined up. And, I also think that in the economy of life, like, there is a path of least resistance that things just start to flow towards those who are willing to put in the work and put in the effort to get things done. And the finesse is finding how to leverage that to the maximum,
Hmm.
where you're not, yes, you can do a job and you can get paid this much per hour to do that
Hmm.
job. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's honorable to live a life, honor God, and love your family.
Hmm.
Perfect. Go do that. If you're someone who's like, I really have this passion and drive and I want to do something greater, bigger, then,
Hmm.
don't limit that capacity, and the flow of the economies will just naturally progress towards people who make things happen. It's not, that's sometimes I think the entrepreneurial side will possibly do that a little too much.
Yeah.
We take on too much. We inherit everybody else's problems as we try to do something profitable with our businesses. We're trying to be problem solvers, but as you become successful at that, more problems come your way.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people think that highly driven people that do this do it for the money, but the more I look at it myself and the more I meet other people that do it, I think the money's just a scoreboard on
Yep.
is we're just really competitive. And
Yep.
whenever you get that competitive drive going, that's that how am I winning or losing?
Yeah.
It's more of a scoreboard than anything. And
It's a finger on the pulse.
yeah.
Did I actually accomplish? And at the end of the day, as we were walking in here, I was telling you the same thing. Like John D. Rockefeller, they asked him, how much money is enough? And he said, just a little bit more.
It's always just a little bit more
So,
until you get to that point that it's not, right?
and I think that that's something that a healthy life is one that just goes, you know what, I'm okay.
Yeah. So, what point in all of this, there's a running theme on our show that I don't know if you're aware of. It comes up really frequently about how did I get into the cattle business? And and so I need to know what point of your journey did you decide that
Yeah.
you needed to be in the cattle business, Carl?
Maybe your definition of cattle and my definition of cattle is a little different, but when I figured out that I could actually trade cows for airplanes and parts, that's when I was like, maybe we're onto something.
Now we're on the
This is
right
money
track.
making now. So now we bought a farm,
Yeah.
and it was like, what are we going to do with this land? We got to do something. And the kids were kind of getting into that age where, hey, take these responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so we bought, I guess it was 80 total.
Yeah.
And, we had fun, and then we wanted the cute fluffy ones.
Yeah.
So we got the Scottish Highlands, and we pawned off 3 on you. You're welcome.
Yeah, so it came up a few times about why why we have these Scottish Highlands, and I
It's a great
definitely
story.
use cattle business in quotations.
Yeah, exactly.
It's totally a sidetracked hobby, but your names came up 4 or 5 times in the
Yep.
show over this whole cow thing, so I'm always telling everyone about how you bribed Robin with cows instead of paying the commission. So
And I actually did it again this year.
yeah,
We had 3 cows that we decided to divest all our cattle, and we got down to 3, and they're actually very, they have personalities. I mean, they
Yeah.
actually are, not pets, but
they're pets.
they interact. They
Yeah.
interact with you. This Scottish Highlands, and so we had the miniature bull. So, how G-rated do we need to keep this podcast?
We need to tell the story about the miniature bull.
All right, we'll
That's
come back to the
too
miniature
good of a
bull.
story not to tell.
The 2 were actual original. They were very personable, eat out of your hand, that kind of thing. And I did a deal, purchased an aircraft, and the company that sold it to us there was 2 camera holes. Well, one of the glass camera lenses was just MIA.
Yeah.
And it's the big company, and the guy who took it to task to just like personal vendetta was like, I'm going to fix this. Could have given up and I was like, you want some cows? So he took cows and is having a great time. He built them a little couple acres that they could stay on. And anyway, so we purchased a miniature bull from Colorado.
I love this one.
Cute little fella.
And how miniature? He's
Yeah,
literally
I mean, when we got him,
tall.
he's probably like that, and
Yeah.
they kind of grow this way,
For sure.
But anyway, super chill, he just, and he's low to the ground.
His belly don't
So,
have a lot of ground clearance.
and he almost looks like a pot-bellied pig. He's like this
Yeah.
big round thing, and he would get excited about meeting the new girl
new
cows.
ladies, yeah. Uh-huh.
And had the unfortunate or fortunate, depending on where you're coming from, he stepped on his appendage potentially multiple times.
Yeah.
Which now there's an injury there, and it got infected, and it's like, so we're asking the vet, what do we do? And he was just like, well, we can cut it off. And I'm like, no, man, no, that's just wrong.
We're not cutting it off.
No, don't cut it off. We can kind of stitch it closed and the sheath and everything. So we tried that, and he would bust through the stitching. So I can't blame him. But he eventually, we actually did get some straws off of them, and which I did not know this, learned through this process that semen cannot survive in blood. Didn't know that. So, kind of a whole,
Wow.
full biology lesson
Yeah.
here. No extra charge. And so he had that injury, and
Yeah.
it would contaminate the straws. So anyway, we had to make sure that he didn't extend anymore,
Yeah.
and that solved the problem. He's just chill kind of guy. They're
Yeah.
they're neat little. That my idea was we would do the miniatures, because these miniatures are,
Pull a fortune for each
yeah.
one of those
If
things.
you get one that's the right size and color, it's 10-15 grand for not something top.
Right.
And if you get something,
There's some of those up 40-50, right? Yeah.
And they literally are just pasture pets. That's
Yeah.
all they are. There's nothing.
They're bougie housewife cows.
Yeah, you're not gonna eat them. I
Yeah.
don't think you should. I don't.
Well, that's the problem we got into, is Robin wouldn't let me eat ours. So that's why we had to start this crossbreeding program, because she'll let me eat the crossbreeds. She just won't let me eat the pure breeds. So.
I mean, she's not off. Have you guys got any meat yet?
Well, we've got
Lacrosses.
What do we got? Like 12 of them on the ground now, and we got one that's probably late this summer, early fall, that'll be ready, and he'll be the first Highland Wagyu crossbreed that we'll get to eat. So we'll send you a steak, let you know how it goes.
I mean, I think you might be onto something here.
I am tentatively calling it Scottish Wagyu, so we'll see how it goes. Squagoo. I like that better. You're always the one with the crazy
King Air
names.
Cowboys.
Yeah, the King Air Cowboys. You always have. I was laughing at your deal the other day about Pahonix and what were you calling Horses Ho?
Horses Ho.
We're going to Horses
Ho Bay.
Yeah.
It was one of those, like, it was perfect. Pahonix and Horses Ho.
Went to Pahonix and then Horses. Yeah. I'm gonna have a hard time getting my head back in the airplane world after all the cow talk now.
Who cares about airplanes?
Yeah, who cares about airplanes when you got furry cows to talk about? In the many years of building that business, and was there ever a point where it went from building yourself a job to, oh wait, I'm actually building a business and I need to be entrepreneurial and I need to be a leader? Did that just naturally come along as it went, or was there like a moment where you were like, holy cow, this ain't just building a job anymore?
I think the idea of it was kind of always there, but the actioning out of, and the maturing as a leader to the point where you can't be everybody's friend, you can't make everybody happy,
right?
And wrapping my head around that this is bigger than me. This is not something that is tied to not just my ego but my identity. If we fail at something, it's not me failing at it, it's the team failing. How do I do better at that? So I would say just holistically was probably just a process, slow drip of a process, like the tectonic plates or the erosion of a river bed. But worth it. I wouldn't trade any of it. But it's just and having people to bounce it off of, like you and I do often, and having a whole sea of business books that you dive off in. And
so I was going to say, you and I compare notes a lot on books that we're reading and new philosophies that we're learning and new ideas that we're learning.
There is way smarter people out there that really have helped tremendously, from personal growth and then business growth. I think Alex Hormozy is probably the tip of the spear today for me, from my experience, and I think he has a very good product that he's helping business guys get a little more acclimated to what different levels there are and how to fill out each step of the way. But early on, man, there was a Christian biblical principles in business. I can't remember the name of the book, but the guy's name was Larry Burkett. And then shortly after that, Dave Ramsey, they had their Entree Leadership launch. They did their very first Entree Leadership and had it at Dave's house. And actually, the grandbaby I was with, that my daughter was Paula was pregnant with her.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
like out here pregnant.
When
And
you went to that
when
event.
with the event, and I like it was at Dave's house,
Yeah.
like in a little tent beside his house,
Right.
and they kind of shuffled us all in, take a picture with Dave and Sharon, and I was like, follow my lead, and Paul was like, what are you gonna do? I said, just go with it, just go with it. And we get up there, and they're like, oh, like she's 8 months out there,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, how far along are you? And I go, she's not pregnant.
Of course you would.
And like they were just this.
Oh my gosh! I bet they were horrified.
Dave gave me a look like, I let these people in my house, you guys are gonna come do me like this.
Oh, that's
So,
hilarious.
but it was the entree leadership really had pushed me for a long time in the direction of like, oh wow, there's a lot I need to be doing that
We
I'm not
do
doing.
a business roundtable on Zoom every single morning, and the whole meeting title, the whole purpose of the meeting, we call it our A1 meeting, and it's part of the entree leadership thing.
Mhm.
Is your A1, your A, I don't remember all the columns because all I focus on are the A's.
Yeah,
But
can't get past them.
yeah, yeah, and so we do our A1 meeting every day out of that whole entree
Yeah.
leadership deal, and so we go around our round table, and it's just the leadership group, and
Mm-hmm.
what's your number one thing you're not going to bed without doing today?
Yep.
And
The essentialism,
oh yeah,
McGowan, he has, and I don't know how much of it he cultivated or it's his. He had something called "When." What's important now,
oh yeah,
and that's something that we've really kind of driven into our team this year. Is hey, there's a ton of stuff to do.
mm-hmm.
There's never a shortage of anything to do, but like, what is the main thing that you need to get done today before you leave?
Right.
So let's focus on that, and then once that's accomplished, ask the question again.
Yeah, that's what our team was getting really bad about is we'd jump on this leadership meetings and everyone would just pull out their to-do list and be like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da,"
Yeah.
and we're like, well, yeah, but you're not going to do all that today. There's like, you just rattled off
Yeah.
35 things.
3 weeks
and
of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like, what is the one thing that you're going to get done today?
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of people get into this problem when you got 400 fires going on and all these
Yeah.
things and the hectic, and I think that's where a lot of people get distracted, right? Is you let item number 47 on your list become the
Trump.
priority
Yeah.
instead of the,
And they're not bad things.
yeah, it needs done.
Those
It's not
things
that
need
it
to get
don't need
done.
done.
And what's happening now as we've started to focus more on what's the most important thing, I'm having to focus on saying, okay, I can step over this piece of trash that's on the ground that I would stop and normally pick up right now because it's really not the pause I need to be taking.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the most important phone call I need to take.
Mm-hmm.
I need to call
Is
this
that why you
customer.
ignore all my calls?
Only you. Only you.
Yeah.
Not true.
No, not true at all.
I will call back. It just takes me a minute sometimes.
Yeah, you and me both. It's like a week later. Hey, Carl,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
calling you back.
Remember me? I don't even remember what I called you for.
Yeah. Would you say that your company has been through company cultural revolution at any point in time during it?
I think there is what Hermosi, talks about. There's just this kind of continual level up, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that begins with your ability to recruit, lead, and keep talent. And every level up that you do is a ratchet up of the capacity of the company.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Mississippi. It's a great state. It's a great place to raise a family, but we just don't have that much aviation talent in
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi. And so we have to raise some up. We have to bring some in
Mm-hmm.
and
develop and grow it.
yeah, develop and grow. I wish we could do more of it. I think it's one of those things on the to-do list. We do have some people in a A&P apprentice program
Mm-hmm.
that, I think is a good pay it forward. And it's actually, in my opinion, not that there's anything wrong with the A&P schools. I just think the route of apprenticeship is it's a six-figure change in net worth for a kid who's 20 years old.
Right.
Literally, if you say go to A&P school for 2 years, spend X amount of dollars, not be able to do a full-time work schedule
Mm-hmm.
versus 30 months as an apprentice in a aviation work environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have work experience, your 30 months to be able to go get your A&P, and you subtract from that not having to pay tuition. It's a six-figure difference at 20 years old. I mean, it's a big to me, if we could fan the flames or standardize that process, I think we would help our aviation talent pool. Not the question you asked me,
Well, it's true though. I
but
mean,
it's
we've touched,
it's a pain point.
it is, and we've touched on that a few times, and we can't touch on it enough until we figure out the solution because, there, I don't know the exact metrics off my head, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of the workforce is going to retire in the next 10 years. And they're
like two old guys
yeah,
talking right now. You
exactly.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's pretty
yeah,
sad.
yeah. We look around and we're on the older end of the spectrum now, and all the boomers that are retiring out right
Yeah.
now. I mean, the wave of retirees out of the A&P sector in the next 5, 6, 7 years is a phenomenal amount of people.
And that intrinsic product knowledge of secret sauce is leaving.
That's it. You're losing the whole knowledge base.
Yeah, and the baton that's being handed to you and I, and we're trying to pass on. There's not enough baton passers right now. We don't have enough of that experienced age group that can take and disseminate the information on a systemic level.
For sure.
Don't know how to fix that.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's definitely is one of the things about our industry that bothers the heck out of me because yes, it's inconvenient for us as aviation business owners. It creates a challenge for us in a business, but from a safety aspect, I really worry about the safety accidents and incidents from our industry because all that knowledge is leaving the room. Well, these owners are still going to want to fly these airplanes. Who's going to fix them? Like, how are you going to keep them safe? Because all that knowledge leaving the room, and you've got some really, really good talent in their 20s, but they haven't been around these airplanes that were built in 1980. They were built before these kids were born.
Exactly.
And now you're handing them an airplane and a maintenance manual and saying, good luck. And it's just not good. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the owners, but it's
just like figuring out that you need to put a 10-ply tire instead of a 6-ply tire on that. That's what caused the no shimmy on that airplane that landed in Amarillo. And that just the try this, and I know, it's like a doctor, practice, that's what maintenance is sometimes. It's like, hey, troubleshooting this, how do we figure this out? We call each other, hey, you ever seen this? We call on our buddies going, what's this? Oh yeah. Cap that line, do it this way.
Yeah.
And that network and that ability to disseminate that more across the whole landscape is difficult. And I think it's actually causing an undue burden on aviation in general because there's no solution. Windshields is the hot topic, but the issue is larger than that. I'm not picking on Textron because I'm in a glass house as well. But if you call Textron with a technical question,
it's getting really hard to get a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, you got Werner there that's a top-notch guy, but Werner's getting older too. They're the passing of the baton is our issue.
Yeah,
and a way that the industry could do it as a whole. I don't know.
You've talked about Hormozy a couple times. Have you tried his new Hormozy AI thing yet that he's got going?
I did.
Is it good?
It is. It's almost like you're basically
you're dealing with him. Huh?
It's literally like you're asking him a question. It's like calling into his. And I'm still on the whatever the really expensive one that he's doing monthly right now, and I really haven't had time to dive into it. But
have you been out to his place in Vegas yet?
So I was going to, and he rolled out his next book, which is really actually really good. And I was like, I might just tell him this because he watches your podcast.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's #1 watcher.
Subscriber #1, Alex Hormozy.
We'll just tag him in every episode.
Alex Hormozy. I didn't go to that bigger event because this was just easier, and for him, it was a broader audience, and broke the record for book sales, and it was a cool idea. It was a kind of a pay it forward sort of thing where we believed in what he was teaching, and we wanted to help other entrepreneurs to get the access to the book. But you gained access to a lot of other products that he offers, and it was a great network of other entrepreneurs that are kind of learning. Like there was one guy on the little network school. It's what they software product
Mm-hmm.
that they have.
That's what we're building out our sales ambassador program on, is his school platform.
School. So it was kind of a way to demonstrate school, was to allow us to have this little area for, I can't remember the name of it, but one of the guys was like, hey, I'll test your website for free. Just give you some feedback.
Right.
His job was to obviously upsell you and all this stuff, but he got on there, gave some pretty good feedback. Like, hey, I noticed this, I noticed that. I looked up some similar products, and your competitors are doing this, and made some, valid points. And I was like, well, it's all part of the little network that Alex put together. So wasn't an employee of Alex. It was just somebody just like you and me, trying to do a business. So I think it's worth it. I think that the Vegas portion, maybe a little more pep rally, kind of like entree leadership in whenever he has the ones. I think
I went to his 2-day weekend workshop thing, I don't know, 6 months ago or a year ago, I don't know, a while back. And it was really good. I learned a lot from it. It's a good product. It was fun meeting him and the team, and they're doing a lot of fun stuff.
Inspirational.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
What do you think one of the most misunderstood things about aviation safety is? Or drop the safety if you want. What do you think one of the most misunderstood things about aviation is?
The safety side. My joke around the hangar is that safety wire is the most unsafe thing in aviation. There's more injuries from safety wire than there. Yeah, it's like a hypodermic needle, But none of that's reported on anything. But so
That's true.
misunderstood about aviation in general.
Yeah,
I think that people think aviation is a rich man sport.
Yeah,
that's the misnomer, and I think that especially the King Airs, and that's one of the things. Like I just kind of grew to be proud of the brand itself because it's so diverse. Yes, it's a business aircraft, and I don't think we have to apologize for that. I don't think that we have to say, oh, well, it's a rich guy's toy, or rich, he just, what, that guy's doing a job for a company, and he would like to get home safe at night to his family and have dinner and sleep in his bed. I don't think anybody has to apologize for that.
No.
Well, he doesn't have to go to those. Well, he's creating jobs. He's stimulating the economy. It's, growing his business. So high five, let that guy, let him loose.
Yeah.
If you can get him to see 10 of his remote businesses or whatever in a day, and he's able to do that using a King Air or some type of business aircraft, I think we should celebrate that instead of it being a stigma of, you're rich, first world problems, you're just rich people. But the fact that the King Air is major support in the military, they're rolling that back a little bit, but we're actually been a lot more involved in the ISR platforms as of late. But the fact that we have a military version of a corporate business aircraft, I think speaks volumes about the robustness of it, the economics of it, and that it's a worthwhile platform to be utilized. Medevac, obviously, you're heavily involved in as well, and forestry. But it's like, what are you doing with the, what's a King Air doing in forestry? Well, bird dogging. They get out there to the smoke system and they lay down a line. They're more nimble and they can get in there and tell the big boys where to drop the fire retardant. And it's a really cool, I know it's not a fighter jet. I know it's not, something aerobatic or anything like that. But to me, it's a pickup truck of airplanes. And I think pickup trucks are cool too. I drive one. So, might as well drive one for an airplane.
Drive the pickup of the sky. Huh?
Exactly.
Well, the Texas Suburban.
We did the whole rebrand because the King Air was the Turbine Suburban, and we were like, "That's too soccer mom." We got to do something way more cool than that. And so we were like, "It's the muscle car of aviation," because you could, like we did the Demon.
Someone needs to go watch your Demon video, dude. That
was fun.
I still have people ask me all the time about that.
Yeah.
That Demon video. Was that real? Was that AI?
Yeah.
No, that was a real.
That's real. was our general manager smoking the tires, and
Yeah.
that was me buzzing over. You know, I was the FAA's concerned. I was going around. You know, the runway
Exactly.
wasn't clear, so I had to go around.
There was a car in my way.
I had to go around at least 5 or 6 times
That
because,
car wouldn't move.
well, it was like we had to
I
get.
think his brakes were stuck. 'cause his
They were
tires
on the front.
smoking
They
and
were
stuff.
locked. The amount of times we had to time it, because if he started smoking too late, I was already gone and it didn't really have the same effect. But if he was too early, I would lose him
Right.
because I would be IMC, you know, in rubber smoke. Not really IMC,
Yeah.
but it would just be like, well, I'm not going to be able to get as low
Yeah.
because the smoke billowing off of him. But it was
One of the
fun.
best airplane videos on the planet.
It was
so
fun.
good.
Yeah, and Dave Johnson did the editing on that. I gotta
Yeah.
get and imaging of, you know, how the angles that he caught
Yeah.
everything. He did really well. So it was fun. The whole project was really just geared towards trying to tell people, you know, king airs are
Yeah.
kind of cool.
That's so cool.
It was fun.
That was a cool project. Cool
Yep.
idea, concept, all
Yeah.
of it. It was neat.
Funny story on it was like the family that painted it is down in DeLand, Florida, Flex Aero. So
Yeah.
Flex Aero
Flex Arrow painted the demon scheme
painted,
on it.
yeah, and you know they're spiritual, religious people like ourselves, and they were kind of like,
You don't really want to paint
"Ain't
a
a
big devil on the
hey
tail
about
of
this one."
airplane.
So I dropped the airplane off, and they like circled. All the whole group circled the airplane and prayed over it before they painted the demon airplane. You know, get the devil out of here. So I told him, I was like, no, we're going to put a Bible verse on it. And I'm going to butcher the Bible verse, but it says, it's in James, even the demons believe and they shudder.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it was on the inside of the wing lockers. And Paula, my wife, was just like, you're ashamed of Jesus. And I was like, what are you talking about? I put a Bible verse on there. She's like, it's in black on a black cowling. I was like, I did want it to be like in your face. And
Yeah.
she was just like, disappointment, you know.
It's phenomenal.
So
fun project.
and it was, I mean, you guys did the wing,
Yeah, we did all the we
lockers,
put
the
black locks
winglets.
on it. And
Yep.
yeah, me and you worked together on the brokerage side on it.
Yeah,
and
I bought the airplane from you
Yeah.
together. That's a really good point.
Yeah, and then we did that. It was a fun collab all the way around because you know it was your baby and your concept, and
Yep.
you had the demon car that paired with it. And,
Yep.
But you used a lot of us in the community to help build it. It was just a fun project. I know it didn't all wind up exactly how you envisioned, but it was still fun and it
Never
was
does,
cool.
you know.
Hey guys, we'll get back to the video in a sec, but first, quick question for you business owners and high achievers watching. When you're traveling around the country for deals, scaling teams, or managing stress, are you actually flying with a team that makes your life easier? Or are you dealing with scheduling headaches, surprise maintenance bills, and too many moving parts behind the scenes? Well, that's why today's sponsor, Haven Aviation Services Group, exists. Think of them as the safe haven of the sky. Haven is a vertically integrated aviation company, meaning they handle everything under one roof. From your private jet charters, aircraft management, brokerage, maintenance, avionics, and premium grade services at their FBO. For aircraft owners especially, this is the absolute real best value. Instead of juggling pilots, insurance, scheduling, maintenance, hangars, legal docs, Haven manages it all in one place. No guessing, no surprises, and no wondering why something suddenly costs 6 figures. Their entire focus is transparency, safety, and long-term planning. So you actually trust the people managing your aircraft and don't have to stress about it at all. So if you want an aviation partner that operates with the same discipline and results-driven mindset we talk about on the show, hit the link in the description to connect with Haven Aviation Services Group. Big thanks to Haven ASG for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to the show.
I wish it was here today. That would be been fun.
Yeah, I really, not to knock on Dodge Demons, but man, those things should not be street legal.
It's pretty wild.
Golly, they're too fast, man.
Yeah.
They're, you know, the way they're designed, they really should be on track
Yeah.
somewhere. They're just made to be
They had
sticky.
all kinds of purchasing restrictions on them, didn't they? Like,
Yeah, you couldn't
Joe Blow couldn't just go buy one.
Yeah, you had, I mean, I think it was almost like a vetting, like they
Mhm.
didn't want everybody just to, and of course the dealers are making their markup on it, but
Mhm.
I had to sign like a couple page list of things I would not do in the car.
Right.
Wouldn't drive in the rain, wouldn't drive it below a certain temperature. I wouldn't change the seating. Like if it had seats in it, I wouldn't take seats out. If it had seats out, I wouldn't put seats in.
Mhm.
So just liability coverage is all they're after. But
Do you still have the car, or did you?
no,
sell
it went with the
it?
airplane.
Did.
But it is for sale. Shameless plug. We got.
The packages for sale again?
Yeah, I mean he'll sell the airplane first
Yeah.
if someone doesn't want the car, and the demon on there is just a decal. It can just be peeled off. But
So if somebody wants the Demon collab
yes,
car and
it's
plane,
available.
they could get the whole set.
They could. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a nice airplane too.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. The
Yeah.
airplane's great. We knew the lineage on the airplane
Yeah,
before we
it-
sold it to you.
Dean Benedict's name in there, had
Yeah.
your name in there, multiple
Yeah.
people we know and trust. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of just being in this network. I can pick up the phone generally and be like, "Hey, you know this
You
airplane?"
just rattle off a serial number
Yeah.
and, oh, no, don't go near that
Yeah,
airplane.
careful with that one.
Yeah, that's fun. One thing I just had an oversight on. I know you really well, obviously, so I just kind of jumped into this with giving our audience the assumption they know what you
Oh,
do.
you guys are here? How you doing?
Like, what is King Air Nation? What do you actually do? What's your business?
Yeah, three facets. We're in aircraft sales. Obviously, we bought the Demon to the project, and then part of the buying and selling of King Airs nets us some opportunities that aren't the best for repurposing the aircraft. Either there's been neglected maintenance, or it's too far gone of something to bring it back. And
BER for some reason.
yeah, I mean the 200 in now, there was we didn't really do much to it. We just did some maintenance to it. Gear was coming due, that sort of thing. The Demon was just a complete makeover. But we'll have some aircraft that we're just like, it's a higher time, or it's had some kind of hanger rash. We don't completely stay away from incident-related aircraft, but it's actually Peter Basilli was like, "So are you guys doing a lot of teardowns, the accidents?" And I was like, "Man, we really don't tear down that many accident-related aircraft." And so we will get some aircraft that we go the parts reclamation route, the demanufacturing route.
Demanufacturing.
So the dismissive people say, "Oh, you're just a salvage yard." I was like, "Yeah, okay, if that's what you say." Another friend of mine who's in the business for years, he would tell people at church all the time, "I'm just a junk dealer," just to kind of throw them off the scent.
Yeah.
But we have a 145 repair station where we have 1,200 line items where we can return to service, specifically King Air parts. Our inventory, top to bottom, is King Airs or PT6s. If we do teardowns, obviously that nets us some engines that are serviceable and can be put out there to the market, generally at reasonable prices. But we started King Air Nation just really not even as the ideology of our business. It was just, we were Davis Aviation, company I started in my garage, and King Air Nation was this kind of outcrop of that as just we're fans of the King Air too. And aren't you guys fans of the King Air? And, age of really kind of a quiet marketplace in social media regarding the product, and leveraged that, built somewhat of a brand that we just kind of always saw as over there. And finally, within the last 10 years, said, you know what? These things need to just kind of blend together. And we just rebranded the whole company as King Air Nation. And, generally, if we have a parts product, it's on our website. We're, top 3 on Google. And, we try to have price points that are equitable. And, we're a small company. There's less than 30 of us. We do aircraft maintenance just on our own airplanes, but it's got to the point now we can't even do it. I have capacity for about 3 airplanes personally, and I think we currently have 7 in process that are like flying again. And then the most we've ever done in business was 1 airplane a month for teardown. And since the beginning of the year, we've purchased 7 airplanes for teardown in addition to the other airplanes we're returning maintenance. So we got our cup runneth over. But like I said earlier, just when you start to solve people's problems, the more problems you get handed.
Exactly.
Thank you, Lord. I'm not ungrateful any way, shape, or form. Just drinking from a fire hose a lot of days.
Yeah.
So
So I know you guys have put a lot of effort in the last couple of years into like revamping the website and
Mhm.
the digital process and the whole way you go through and order parts
Mhm.
and check your inventory and having more like live inventory.
Mhm.
Is that in a pretty good spot now where if someone just goes to your website, they can order the parts right there, check your inventory right there?
Supposed to be.
It's pretty good. It's getting a lot better.
The platform we use is a little less intuitive than we'd like on the search
Hmm.
process. It's almost as if it's better to Google, and we index on Google pretty high, and
Hmm.
we'll generally, we're one of the few companies that you can literally just click and buy products
Hmm.
on the King Air line, and it has been successful. Our issue is just internal pipelines.
Yeah.
We're having constraints, as Alex Ramosi calls it, that it's internal. We literally had to shut off our phones and auto reply emails. We went through and said to we did we have an AI response of our emails for requests for quotes on parts, and it got to the point where we were realizing a lot of people who were querying weren't actually buying. So we
Right.
just said, hey, you know what? We really need to separate the men from the boys. There's a website here. You can have at it.
Yeah.
Check as much as you want. Look at our pricing. If you're a competitor, good luck. But if you're going to buy parts from us, we can service you.
Hmm.
So we call it the bat phone. We
Yeah.
went around to our customers who are actually doing more consecutive transactions and said, hey, you know, this is how you get a hold of us now. This is the your email domain is not blocked
Right.
just because it was bombarding, and I hope we can
Hmm.
unblock that eventually. But
You had
you
to
know,
pause a little bit
we
to
had to we had
service
to
your
fix us.
customers
Yeah,
appropriately.
yeah.
Yeah.
To do our job to the best quality we wanted, we had to look in the mirror first and go,
Hmm.
we don't have a marketing issue.
Yeah. It's
we have
definitely not that. Yeah.
we have an inbound and cultivation issue, and
Hmm.
so we started to hire appropriately for that, and got some great people on our team, and I'm excited about it. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those. What about you? It's like when I can get people on our team that are like-minded and they are drinking the Kool-Aid, I
Yeah.
get excited because it's like I finally got other people around me that are I'm not pulling on or
Right.
working against. They're
We're all on the same end of the rope
yeah,
now.
yeah, we're building each other up, encouraging each other in the process. And at the end of the day, I'm tired. You tired? Yeah, I'm tired, man.
Yeah.
Great, let's go home and be with our family. Put this
My
put this to bed.
my mission is to beat Occam's razor, so I'm constantly trying to get ahead of that 20% doing the 80%.
Yeah,
I want 80% doing 100%.
yeah. Let me know
So yeah, I'll
how you
let you
figure that
know.
out.
That's my life's goal right now. Is I'm gonna defeat Occam's razor. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's human nature, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. You just have to be really, really good at leadership.
Hmm.
I mean, I think Hermosi's got a great team. I think
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey's got a great team. I think those are people that I really respect, and I've often looked over and go, man, how do you guys get this talent?
Right.
And I think the answer to that's in the mirror. Personally, like
For sure.
this is the issue. I need to be the leader worth following.
It always starts in the mirror
Yep.
and works its way out from there.
The Bible says, and we're bearded individuals, so we can say this, that the anointing drips from the beard.
Yeah.
They would put oil on their head, and then it runs down. So if you have a problem downstream,
Yeah.
it's coming upstream.
Yeah.
And I have this issue with our team. Well, are you enabling that? Are you
Yeah.
not
You're not
addressing?
communicating
Yeah,
appropriately,
are you
not
not
setting
training appropriately? Where is your issue? And it's not generally, here. Are you hiring correctly?
Mhm.
Are you communicating expectations? So I think it all flows from leadership. You know,
We're going to go into a few rapid fires. Best pilot you've ever seen and what made them different? Yourself?
I'm gonna be humble.
I knew you were going to say me.
No, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not the best pilot. I don't fly enough.
Yeah.
Literally, I would love to be more acclimated, more saturated in it. I mean, I will say, what's qualifications of best pilot? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a maverick. It's someone who is safe and reliable and I think that confident, that it's going to make a decision and make it quick. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Frankie's somebody I respect a lot. BJ, Frankie Sweet, BJ Allen. And there's people along the way that kind of took me under their wing, instructors, and that were kind of like gods at the time. You're like, man, that's awesome. How do you do that? I want to be that guy, and would kind of teach me on the ropes along the way. And I wish I could just say one, but man, I've been blessed with just really a cool group of people that I get to
big
hang with.
abundance of them, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's just and pilots are, a million of them in the U.S. or something like that. It's not a large quantity, but the best meme I've ever heard about pilot is there's a funeral, and they're like, "Is there any last words?" And then there's a dude at the end, "I'm a pilot." If you're ever worried, wonder if there's a pilot in the room, don't worry, he's going to tell you.
I like the memes where they're showing them loading on the commercial airline, and the private pilot always goes up to the cockpit. "Hey guys, I'm here if you need me."
You're safe.
It's funny.
They never push the button. They always ask for a doctor. They're never asking for a pilot, because they already know.
Is there a doctor on the plane? One habit every young aviator should build immediately.
Discipline.
Absolutely.
I think that we are highly lacking as a society in discipline. Get off your phone, be brave, and turn off your phone. And, David Goggins, "You Can't Hurt Me" book.
No.
What's the thing that you hate doing the most?
No.
Go do that. Well, I don't, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no.
It unlocks a part of your brain that just goes, "Oh, actually, I didn't die. I hate doing this." I hated running. And so I just freaking set off and ran 1,000 miles before I turned 49. It took me from about 10, 11 months. And everybody was just like, "Well, why?" And I said, "Because I hate it."
Yeah.
I had a buddy that started running with me, and we're running on Saturdays. We try maybe hit a half marathon every once in a while. And he was like, "So, what is it that you like about running?" And I was
Nothing.
like, "Absolutely nothing. I hate this." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "It's the worst thing I could ever imagine to spend my time doing.
Yes.
I hate doing this."
That's
He's
funny.
like, "Why are you here?"
I didn't know you did that as like a whole thing to hit the 1,000-mile deal. Me and for the exact same reason, I have hated running my entire life, and so my big thing for this year is I want to run a full marathon.
Yeah,
I've never done it. Never got close. Never even. So me and Robin committed to they do a marathon in Honolulu in December. So we started about a month ago training for it.
Who came up with that? Really?
So we're gonna go run that marathon in Honolulu
That's
this
awesome,
December,
man.
and for the exact same reason though. I hate it, and I don't like something thinking it's gonna beat me. So
it's just one of those, like, you do it and you're like, "Oh, I actually didn't die."
Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna die, but I actually did it. I think the most I ever got up to was 17, and I mismanaged my calorie intake and just hit an absolute wall.
Yeah.
Literally, I stopped, took a goo pack, and was like, "Oh, I got another 3. I'm gonna hit that 20 miles." And I ran like 100 yards, and I just stopped. And I was like,
Forrest Gump style.
"Oh yeah,
I think I'll go home now."
I was running, and I just literally turned around. Cool story though. Out of all the places, of me to finish my 1,000th mile, it was my birthday. Was like my goal, and I gotten close, and I was like, "I'll coast into 1,000th mile my birthday."
Right.
So last October, I gone to Recurrent out in King Air Academy, and then we had going to take the weekend up, run up to Vegas, and so I'm like, you know what? It's the birthday. I'm going to hit it. I got 3 miles left, and I just in a random neighborhood in Las Vegas, running. We're staying at Airbnb. I have no idea where I'm at. Like, oh, that's about 3 miles. And so I go my 3 miles and come back rolling in, and it's this beautiful, lush, green park in the middle of this neighborhood in Vegas.
Wow.
Like, where's a green park in Vegas? I was like, man, this is really nice. Oh, there's a sign, Davis Park.
Really?
I was like,
what the heck?
Thank you, Lord. I just went. That just made me smile. I was like, okay, Lord. It was just
wrapped it up right there.
At Davis Park. And I was like, oh, man, that's pretty cool. What a good birthday present, you know. And it was one of those. The problem is, it's like a greyhound that actually catches the fake rabbit.
Yeah, you're like, now what do I do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
It's like being successful or doing something. You're like, you grab the thing and you're like, well, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
That doesn't taste like rabbit.
Start chasing something else right after that.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't know. So I'm kind of off the wagon. I need to get back on, but
Yeah.
it's one of those.
Figure out what the next thing is, huh?
I just need to stay. I just need to be disciplined to stay after it. But
Yeah.
long answer for what should new
But
aviators.
it's so true though. Like, yes, for new aviators, but in my opinion, that's
Holistic.
blanket statement for everybody. Discipline is
Yep.
is a major failing point, and
I think you have to balance. I was struggling with this. Okay, like well, the Bible says that I should be content in where I am, but the Bible also says that God commanded Adam and Eve to go and subdue the earth and be fruitful and multiply. Well, it was a pretty big earth. We got a lot to do, kind of thing. So, ambition is not a bad thing. Contentment, not a bad thing. But those two seem to be in opposition to one
Right.
another. And it was a LinkedIn article or something. I was like literally Googling because it was one of those things I was like, how do I wrap my head around this? And the article was just, they're not in opposition. They're actually two sides of the same coin where you need to balance in your life that, I am made from the dust, but I am also made in his image. So how do I balance those two things together where I am very limited? My life is going to end at some point, but I'm also have all this potential that I could do anything I would like to do. What quote from the Essentialism book was, what are you going to do with your one beautiful life? Can't remember who to give credit to that for, but that's a really good quote of just, well, this is yours, man. What are you going to do with it? Do something awesome with it, but also chill out a little bit and like enjoy your wife, enjoy your kids, enjoy the fruits of your labor. And it still doesn't dampen that down because there's like a balance between, well, that's kind of lazy, I don't want to do this. Well, that's kind of a workaholic. I don't want to do that too much. And it's like finding the equilibrium between the two of those is the joy and the pain of living humanity, like finding who you are in God and trusting him to lead you to when you maybe need to tip one way or the other to balance it out. We got really deep there for a second. Sorry, man.
Well, the thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is they think if you're aggressively going after a goal, a mission, a thing you want to do, that means you must not be content and happy with what you have in your life.
Right.
And to me, that's not the truth at all. If it all shut off tomorrow and my life is my life, I'm very content.
Yeah.
But
I know who I am.
I feel like if I still have this potential within me, it's behoove of me to go and try to capture it. Doesn't mean I'm dissatisfied with what I have or I'm not grateful for what I have. But in order to show that, does that mean I have to go do nothing with all this potential that I know I have?
No.
I don't believe so. And I think that's where a lot of people get into this struggle of balancing appreciation and being happy with this while chasing this. And I don't know, it doesn't seem opposed to me. Like,
no, yeah. They can be cohesive.
Yeah.
I've really, really great book. I know I've shared it with you. Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer is about finding rest in this life. And I think as in our hurry in our digital age, we're constantly connected, constantly given stimuli, and finding a place to just turn it off. God said to take a Sabbath. The best line in the whole book is people look at that and they go, well, it's religion. You're religious. You got to take a Sabbath. You got to take a break. Take a day or a week. And he's like, yeah, that's like saying you have to eat ice cream. Like, ice cream is awesome. And when you understand that it's actually for you, Jesus even said it, he's like, dude, Sabbath is not for, it's not, Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So it's actually needed. It's just like taking every night you got to go to sleep.
Yeah.
your body was designed, it's like fasting even, you know, it's your body was designed to be made in 7-day increments to say, chill out for a day.
Yeah.
Smooth it out just a little bit. So I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect at it, but I put my phone to bed at night somewhere else. On Saturdays, I try to unplug. It's made a huge impact in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Never perfect at it, but
Yeah.
Again, it's just like ice cream.
Yeah.
It's something good for me. It's a blessing to me. And I think that if you can live a life in balance personally, it's like this just absolute shot in the arm for everything else that you can do.
It gives you the inspiration and the
Yeah.
motivation and the energy to do the other things.
I can be a great husband. I can
Yeah.
be a great dad. I can be a great entrepreneur. But I have to action out these personal things. You know, oh, well, you know, I need me time. No, 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 no. No, that's not it at all. Yes, you need to sleep at night. You need to get as much sleep as you can. You know, 8 hours sleep is essentialism says you got to protect the asset. You know, this is all you got. So take care of it, get some sleep.
Glad
And
I got a lot to work with over here.
yeah, I know it's a whole lot of sexy over there.
That's funny. If you had to start over at 20, what would you do differently?
Personally, I would say I would definitely let things go a little bit more and spend more time with my family and pour more into my wife. My wife has, you know, allowed my entrepreneurial mistress to be a distraction, and she's been very gracious about it. But it's something that I think a lot of times that she's taken second seat, because and it's one of those, it's difficult because you're rewarded for it. You know, it's like it's a good thing. I'm going to provide for my family. We're going to be successful. We're going to do these things. So I would definitely do that differently. You know, taking her out on a date once a week is always been a goal. I never really accomplished it as much as I'd
Right.
like. In business, I would say the thing I would do differently would be to understand that now that I've seen on the other side, I understand money a little bit better. That money is an opportunity, but it's also a responsibility. That instead of it being something that can action out the things that I want, that it's more about purposing it in a direction and managing it well, so that the return on that is where I go, okay, well, there's something here. I can use it for something that I'd like to do versus, hey, there's this pile of money. I want to go buy this or go buy that, or versus just learning that there's stewardship there. That, you know, Jesus talked about the parable of the talents. You know, there was one guy who was given 5 talents, and he made it into 5 more talents. And Jesus said, enter the joy of your reward. Like there's a benefit for being successful. There's an expectation to do it, even like to go and subdue and do more, cultivate the ground and make it bring forth 100-fold. You know, knowing that at 20 and having the physical capacity
Right.
to do it, you know, at a 100 mile an hour versus right now, you know, one day of the King Air gathering, and I'm like, you know, I'm ready to go to bed. You know,
Yeah.
Paula's like all the time, you're an old man. Like, what? It's 8:30. I'm tired, you know?
It's my bedtime.
Exactly.
So stewardship and learning how to handle things, whether it's your relationship, your wife, your spouse, if they're not to that point yet, your business, your money, all of it is just learning good stewardship, it sounds like,
Yeah.
right? And do you have any advice on if you can put yourself back in the testosterone driven, eager 20-year-old? How do you decide where to put the priority? Do you just protect each one of them like their own little thing that's all equally got to be protected? Or do you, because you and I have been doing this for years now, and so we've learned all the hard lessons. So what I like to do is try to let people avoid the same potholes.
Yeah.
But if you put yourself back in their shoes, we're just a bunch of dumb old dudes, and they know how to do it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
are-
Yeah. And I think that's also like the the gift I'm trying to give to my children. And Dave Ramsey talks about this at length, and he's actually really gifted about how he presents it. That one day if something happens to him and Sharon, his kids are going to inherit substantial fortune, and he's like, I want them to have the character to handle that. And how do you instill that character? I think it's in like little micro steps of learning that. I have a friend that sells airplanes. Our buddy. We won't name names.
I have a strong suspicion I know which one you're talking about.
Now that would be an interesting podcast.
Well, I'll have to put that one on the list.
Beep, 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 beep.
It'll be good.
Is he cussing? No, he's just saying something we cannot say. You just cannot say that.
He's awesome.
He builds a great airplane.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everybody. I say you cannot argue with the end product. But he actually actioned this out in aviation with his sons, that he's trying to get them to do the same thing. And I think that trying to give them access to capital, but also having the bumper guards like in bowling that keeps them out of the gutter, that they would have access to somebody that you and I would have loved to have been able to talk to. Not that we're somebody, but Lemur Dunn's a prime example. He's he's been a positive influence for both of us. There's multiple times I was like, hey man, this is what I'm doing. And he's like, yeah, I would do that. His blue Mercedes story, you've heard that one before. The blue he bought a baby blue Mercedes, and he was like buying cars, flipping cars, and he bought this like horrible color Mercedes, and everything on it said it was a deal, and he never could sell the car. So it was one of those like he learned the actions of it, and he was doing the same thing we're talking about, kind of paying it forward to helping the next generation of entrepreneurial people to. And I think that's the action, is just kind of putting some rails in place, helping people action forward things that will be successful for them. In addition, if if it's something you're a part of, capital venture of some type, then great, But I think that's the only way we can really is just teach by doing.
Right.
Show me Oklahoma to show me state.
Oklahoma. Whenever Carl's an old man, another 40 years from now,
way down there,
way on down there, sitting in the rocking chair, what do you hope people remember about you or say about you?
That I honor God, and that I love my family, and that I really liked airplanes.
I think that one will be on there.
Yeah, the Covington Turbines kind of coined that years ago, and they had a T-shirt that said that. And when I got that shirt, I was like, that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's really, honor God, love your family, and fly airplanes. And we love aviation, and I think that's a really very direct, succinct response to. I'm not so sure I want that on my gravestone, but I don't care. I'm not there.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover or talk about? Anything we missed?
We could talk about Robin's pink makeup applicator. Well, is that a good topic line?
Hey, I'll cover that one. I think it's hysterical. So
I think it's awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. So as we've talked about, we're at this convention right now, and Robin got tired of going to all these trade shows with us, and all the swag on all the tables is always dude
masculine,
related. Yeah, very masculine hats and dude shirts and keychains and bottle, like all men stuff. And she's like, she's in charge of our booth for our stuff, and she's like, I want something for the ladies, like we all. And so she, amongst a few other things and other lady products, things that they would like. But one of them, she got these beauty blenders, and
I'm glad you call them lady products and not feminine products, because that's a whole other
topic. Not feminine products. No, not feminine products. Those aren't fun. So she's like, I'm going to order. She said, I found these beauty blenders, and I was like, what the hell is a beauty blender?
Yeah, you're thinking like a shake, you're like power shake,
have a clue what a beauty blender is. And she's like, well, I found them. The girls will love them, and they got our logo on them, so I'm ordering them. I'm like, your deal, baby. We'll do whatever you want. So we get them. They've been a big hit. We've had them at 3 or 4 shows now. They're gone immediately. The women go berserk over these things. So we show up here to this one, and they're all sitting out there, and they're kind of a pink for the guys that like me that don't know what the hell a beauty blender is, they're like a sponge that's kind of a egg-shaped, cone-shaped thing, and they're in these little plastic things
It's
with
a
the
good
logo on
description.
it. And Carl walks up. So these were insinuated to be some sort of lady stimulators, and Carl had to be educated about what a beauty blender was,
Yeah.
just like I did. So
Yeah.
so hysterical though, because we've had them everywhere, and I'm wondering how many people
They're
want.
like, I'll take 10.
Yeah. So now I'm second guessing
They
why they're so
love these
popular.
beauty blenders.
So now I'm wondering if that's why they've been so popular, is because everybody
Mistaken
misunderstood
identity.
misunderstood what this product
No,
was.
they're feminine products. No. Come back.
Oh
No,
my
we want to
God.
sell you aircraft maintenance.
Yeah. Well,
We'll charter your airplane.
now we know why we got so many weird looks at them. It was a
Just so
misidentified
popular.
object. We'll just call them a UFO.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Anything else, man?
No, man, thanks for doing this.
All right,
This is
well,
awesome.
we sure appreciate you being on. We're going to go get back to the show here, and
Yeah.
thank all you guys for tuning in for another episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been cleared for takeoff. You are now flying high with Travis Lamance.